Do you need to pentameld your crafting gear? No. Oh, you wanted more details? Okay, well, my name is Tenelin, and let's talk about it. This question is probably the most asked question in the crafting and gathering space for Final Fantasy XIV, and I understand why. Back when I first started to get into this section of the game, I saw everybody talking about how good pentamelding was, and how much you need to do it to be able to craft everything in the game. The more I learned though, the more I realized this to not be the whole truth. I'm not saying anybody is wrong by any means, or lying or deceiving you, but the concept of needing pentamelded crafted gear is a bit complicated. The quick answer is that it all depends on your goals. You should do what brings you the most fun over anything else. If you just want to pentameld your gear, you should do it. If you want to wait for the script gear, you should do that. I'm not here to tell you how to play the game. I don't pay your sub. But what I am here for is to try to educate you of the pros and cons of the different gear sets, and to hopefully give you an insight so you can make an informed decision that's best for you. So let's break it all down. Crafting and gathering can really be looked at in the same exact light as combat gear, in the race to do savages or even ultimates. The answer is always decided by your level of commitment and time that you want to put into that piece of content. Are you trying to do a week 1 full clear on the newest savage tier? Well, then pentamelded crafting gear is probably right for you. Are you attempting to casually prog in PF? Happy to clear the first raid with the new tier? Then pentamelded gear is probably overkill, something you don't need. The same logic can be applied to crafting and gathering gear. The easiest way to answer the question is to ask yourself, how much am I going to use this gear? Am I looking to craft tens or hundreds of pieces of the newest high-end crafts? Or am I just looking to be able to make some new items for me, maybe a friend or two, and I just want to be able to say I made my own gear? If you're in that first group, then pentamelding your gear might be the right choice, while those who are looking to be a little bit more casual can easily stick to a more mid-tier or even a budget setup. But what exactly is the difference between all of these setups? In this video, I'm going to break down the difference in crafting melds and gear setups specifically, and I'll show you what you need to know to understand what melding does for you in regards to crafting. I will also have a video coming out that covers the difference in gathering melds in the future, so be sure to subscribe for that and give this video a like if you found it helpful. We're going to be looking at the current patch 7.2 meld setups for budget, mid, and high tier that are provided by the Teamcraft website, as they do a great job of laying out multiple tiers, and most people in the scene are relatively familiar with these. I'm going to be using the 7.2 gear because that is the current patch that I'm in while we make this video, but everything in here is a concept and it gives you an understanding of what pentamelding does, so it can be applicable in any patch. Here's a quick look at the stats that each of these different setups provide, as well as the approximate required materia in order to hit their melds. As you can see, the amount of materia that you need between each of them ramps up pretty quickly, so keep that in mind when we look at the difference in usage. We'll look back at the materia numbers a little bit as we go through each of the setups. As you can see, there is a pretty significant difference in stats across the board, but all of these sets are able to craft any of the current recipes that are in the game, with the exception of some expert crafts. This video won't be taking expert crafts into consideration, as they are more of a niche content and deserve their own future video. In general, the high tier melds or even a specialized meld set are needed in order to successfully craft them, so we're just going to go ahead and pretend that they don't exist for this video. We're going to be using one of the crafted combat gear pieces from the most recent patch, which is the 7.2 Savage tier crafted gear. These are the most difficult master recipes available at this time, and I've picked the ceremonial short bow to make this consistent across all of the demonstrations, so let's break down how each of these meld setups can craft it, starting with the budget. The budget setup is comprised of the script gear and the 7.0 right side gear. In this current patch, there is no right side script gear, and that will come out in 7.4. Script gear is released as a catch-up mechanic for crafters and gatherers. It comes out one patch cycle after the crafted gear, and in general is used for more casual players who aren't looking to craft the new recipes day one of a patch. The script gear without melds actually has the same exact stats as the previous patched crafted gear, which you can see here by comparing the script chest piece to the Everseeker chest piece. The difference is that the Everseekers is available an entire patch earlier and can also fit 5 materia into it, while the script gear can only fit 2. This means that the Everseeker gear has a higher stat potential and is considered the better choice for the mid and high tier, but for the budget gear, script gear is very good. In order to craft the ceremonial shortbow with this gear setup, we're going to need all high quality materials in order to boost our initial quality to ensure that we can craft the armor at high quality with a 100% success rate. So let's start by looking at all of the pre-crafts. The recipe for the ceremonial shortbow does require 5 of the 3-star difficulty 35 durability crafts, and to craft those at high quality, the macro that we would use is 23 steps and takes 59 seconds. Doing that 5 times will take a total of 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Next, you're going to need a level 98 crafted material, and the difference in time between this will not vary enough between the gear sets, so across all examples, we're going to say that this takes 32 seconds. Finally, we do need 3 of the gem saps, which is only 1 craft as the recipe gives us 3, but it's also another 35 durability, 3-star master recipe craft, so another 59 seconds. That means the total craft time is 6 minutes and 26 seconds for only the pre-crafts. Now that we have those materials ready, we can craft our ceremonial bow, and this craft will take 20 steps, taking 52 seconds, bringing our total craft time for one piece of gear to 7 minutes and 18 seconds. This setup does use significantly more materia than the budget setup, and it also uses full crafted gear instead of script gear for both the left, right, and tools. Your right side gear is fully pentamelded, but the left side only has up to 4 melds per piece, and the tools only a single materia. The materia requirements do have quite a bit of a jump though because of how melding works. Each different meld that you use in a piece of gear gets a lower and lower success rate, so that does cause you to lose some materia because it is not guaranteed to be able to put the materia in the gear. Let's go ahead and see what this changes in our crafting times though. First off, because of our higher stats, we actually need 1 less high quality material to be able to craft that ceremonial bow. So we can take some time of not having to do 1 of the 35 durability 3-star master crafts at high quality. We can actually get one of those at just normal quality. That means we only need 4 of the 35 durability high quality materials, 1 of the normal quality, 1 of the level 98 recipe, and the 3 gem saps at high quality. Remember again, this is only 1 craft. Also, because we have better stats, that 35 durability 3-star craft for the mid-tier setup, it only takes 20 steps and 53 seconds, which only cuts off 6 seconds per craft, but a total of 24 seconds on these 4, and then we only need to do that 1 35 durability at normal quality, which takes about 10 seconds. We again have the 32 seconds for the level 98 material, and another 52 seconds for the gem saps, meaning the pre-crafts take 5 minutes and 6 seconds. 1 minute and 20 seconds less than the budget setup on the pre-crafts, and the ceremonial bow will use a 20-step macro at 53 seconds for a total craft time of 5 minutes and 59 seconds. This is a full 1 minute and 19 seconds faster than the budget setup. Finally, let's look at the high-end meld setup. For this one, we're only going to need 5 of the 8 materials at high quality, meaning we can knock an additional 2 of those 35 durability master crafts off of the list. For this setup, those recipes take 19 steps and 50 seconds to craft. Since we only need 2 of them, it will take a total of 1 minute and 40 seconds for those 2, and then 3 of them at normal quality, taking about 30 seconds. We have our level 98 craft again at 32 seconds, and our gem sap taking only 50 seconds. That means the pre-crafts take 3 minutes and 32 seconds to craft, and the ceremonial bow takes 22 steps and 59 seconds for a total craft time of 4 minutes and 31 seconds. This is an additional 1 minute and 38 seconds faster than the mid-tier setup. Let's go ahead and compare all of these side by side, and you can see that there is a significant difference in time between crafting each of these depending on the setup that you choose. Now, all of the items are not going to be the exact same amount of time. For example, a bow might take a little bit longer than the boots will take, but to make this a little bit easier to demonstrate, I'm going to just say that every single piece takes approximately this amount of time on each of the setups. So that means if you wanted to craft an 11-piece combat gear set for the entirety of every piece, the budget set will take 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 18 seconds. The mid-tier setup will take 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 49 seconds. And the high tier will take 49 minutes and 41 seconds. As I talked about before, for the average player who wants to just craft themselves a few pieces of gear or maybe a set for themselves and their friends, might want to stick with the budget or mid-tier setup, as the cost of going for the pentamelded high tier might not be worth the time saved for only 2 or 3 sets of gear. But the hardcore player who takes a commission to craft 3 static raid groups entire full sets of gear each, well, they'll save themselves about 12 hours of crafting on those 24 gear sets if they do that high tier setup over the budget tier setup, or 6.5 hours between the high tier setup and the mid tier setup. And when you put it in that sort of perspective, you can see that it may be worth melding a little bit more if you're going to be crafting a lot more. Now, all of these demonstrations were using the same crafting food, ceviche, just to keep it consistent across the demonstration, but there is also a factor to consider that the higher your stats, the more budget food you can use if you want to sacrifice some time for a less expensive or difficult food to craft. Ceviche right now are selling for around 3,000 to 5,000 gil, while a budget food like the Ronique steak could be used instead at a market board cost of around 1,000 gil, and the sacrifice might just be adding 1 or 2 steps into your macro for a few more seconds of craft time. Those are the advantages of better melds though. What are the downsides that you have to take into consideration? Well, first off, melding can be very expensive or time consuming depending on how you get your materia. Getting a full pentameld set can take hundreds or even near thousands of materia, because the way the system works is that the more materia a piece of gear has, the lower chance you can add another, ranging from 1,000% chance of success on that first slot to a 5% chance of success on the 5th slot. Materia, especially for crafters, is hard to come by, as the best way to get them is by crafting collectibles and turning those in for scripts to buy materia from a vendor, and that can take a lot of time and materials to do. You could also buy them from the market, but the cost is usually pretty high and adds up very quickly. When looking at the budget set or script gear in general, it also always releases on the same patch of the new combat crafted gear, a Savage Raid tier release. So if you want to take advantage of those early markets to craft those new items, then script gear will slow you down slightly, because you have to actually go and get the scripts and get that new gear, then put your melds into it on that exact patch that all of the new stuff is out on. But that may not be as big of a factor as it used to be, because now we're going to always have a 1-week delay in the Savage tier releasing from when the actual gear releases. So you have like a 1 week of overlap where you can actually craft the gear before it's really needed. So script gear does have a little bit more of an appeal there as a bonus to that budget setup. But on that same note, there are also plenty of players who do want to get their hands on the new shiny gear as soon as they can. So it's really hard to say one way or the other whether that matters. In summary, all of this is really just to say there's no correct choice. This is a personal decision where you have to ask yourself what your goals and plans are. What's going to be the best choice for you? There are pros and cons to each that I've laid out here, and hopefully a manner that makes you get a better idea of what you should do, but ultimately it is a decision you need to make for yourself. I hope this video does do a good job of breaking down the difference so you can feel like you have a more informed decision to make on which meld you should use. If you did find this helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for my gathering meld breakdown that I'm working on next. I thank you very much for watching, and I want to give a special shout out to all of my members here. You too can become a member for only $1 a month, which gets you access to some of my videos early, a high quality symbol next to your name in the comment section down below, and a special role in my Discord if you'd like to join us there. I hope you have good luck with your melds, and see you later.